Death Note is a direct-to-Netflix movie directed by Adam Wingard, based on the hit anime and manga series by the same name. The premise is that this guy in high school comes across this book, which you can write someone's name and how they want them to die, and this demonic creature, in this case voiced by Willem Dafoe, will make it happen. Unlike what you'd expect from this premise, he doesn't use it for personal gain, but he decides to use it to rid the world of criminals. However, due to the vast number of criminals dying, the world's greatest detective is put on the case. Right, where to start? The director, Adam Wingard, clearly tried. The film is at least visually interesting and some shots are rather intelligently done. However, other scenes, not so much. I mean, some scenes must be added in like studio mandated. They don't need to be there. There are subtly handled moments where Light and his dad are sitting at the table, there's an empty space between them, showing how they've grown apart and his mum's missing, or dead. However, there's a scene earlier on that outright tells us that Light's mum is dead, so that scene could have been completely cut out and it wouldn't have made a difference, you still would have understood. The music in this film, I mean, when I think of Death Note's music, I think of choirs. Music that subtly tells a story. Let's see, Duo Reviews video. However, what I don't think of is in the words of Bill Nye.
That just makes no sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
Okay, the cast. Willem Dafoe does a great job in this role. From the initial trailer, I couldn't wait to see him portray Ryuk, and he does a good job. Easily the best part of the film.
Now I'm rooting for this guy. Just shut up.
And mapping Willem Dafoe's face onto a 7-foot actor was a great way to pull it off. Because Willem Dafoe isn't exactly intimidating himself with makeup and a costume. So it was a smart idea to do it this way. I mean, Ryuk looks so much better as a costume with a face mapped onto it than as a completely CGI puppet like in the previous Japanese live-action movies. Lakeith Stanfield, whose name I'm probably mispronouncing, plays the detective L. I liked him in Get Out, and if he was cast to play this part in the story, with all its twists and turns and his changes as a character throughout the film, then he's the great choice. Given recent films, I would have picked him to play this role. However, if L's character in this story was changed to fit Lakeith and his performance, specifically from the scene in Get Out,
Chores have become my sanctuary. Get out. Sorry, man.
Okay.
Get out! Yo! Yeah! Yo, chill, man. Get out! Chill! Get out! Chill, man! Chill! Get the f*** out of here!
then he shouldn't have been cast if they changed the character to fit his strengths. L in the anime is a cold, antisocial, quirky genius who over time figure things out that ultimately lead to him being certain that Light is Kira. but is just lacking the evidence to convince others. Several of Netflix's L's deductions only make sense if you've seen the anime, and even then, some of his choices just don't make sense. Yet, unlike most people, I don't have as much of a problem with L at the end. See, most people point out, how would he know how to use the page from the note? But you need to remember, Mia wrote that the FBI agent would use it to kill the other agents and how he would use it. She wrote that he would write the names of each member of the task force while picturing their faces as he writes each name. So she basically left instructions for L of how to use it. And he saw Light's page before it burned up, so he saw what it would say. So L, at least the version from the anime, would have been able to put 2 and 2 together. My problem is that in the anime, L is strongly against killing, and it's out of character for him to even consider writing in the Death Note. In the show, when he eventually does reach the point of, should I do this? He chooses to use people on death row instead, people who are going to be killed anyway. Yet, in the movie, he's running around threatening people with a gun. Nat Wolff plays Light Turner, and yeah, this probably is how I would have reacted to a Shinigami suddenly appearing out of nowhere. But I wouldn't have been smiling. The note itself is changed a fair bit. Several rules have been changed so that it fits the plot instead of the plot being written to fit the rules. Some rules seem to have been added in to make Light seem like a better guy almost. Like, oh, he wanted Rotari to live after writing his name in it, so he was going to burn the page. I don't recall burning a page ever being a thing in the original show, where you can control them for 2 days. I don't remember that being a thing. You could certainly control them, but it was not for 2 days. They stick to the rules sometimes, like how Light words the final plan in such a way that he never writes his own name in the note. And because the FBI director can't make it to Japan in 40 seconds to jump off a building, he just dies of a heart attack. Okay, that's fine, that sticks with the rules of the show. But other times they change how long someone can be controlled for, and how you can leave the note unattended before Ryuk finds it a new owner. One rule that exists in the anime that could have helped Light win easily is that in the show, the note cannot be used to shorten the life of anyone whose name isn't written in it. So there would be no collateral damage, which is why earlier him not writing his own name at any point for the final plan makes sense. But this is left out of the film, so Light could have easily controlled Watari and told him Watari will wake up and kill the detective known as L. And boom, Light wins. But Light shouldn't have been able to control Watari in the first place, because he doesn't put Watari's real name in the notebook, he only writes Watari. This is so stupid. For the first 20 minutes of the film, I was somewhat interested. They changed a few things, but it wasn't incompetent. And then they do a montage that breezes through some of the most compelling stuff in the anime, like turning into a serial killer and learning how the note operates. And all of a sudden, people across the world are literally on their knees praying to Kira. Seeing how much they changed from the anime, tell me this, why is Light in high school? How does him being in high school affect the story? He kills one bully.
Oh my god, they killed Kenny! You
and shows the girl he has a crush on the most deadly weapon of mass murder in history. The movie could have been set at Light's dead-end job at a Starbucks, and it would make no difference. Having him in high school should have some bearing on the story, but it doesn't. In the anime, this is done to show Light's intelligence in the first few episodes, and allows him to be absent from his house when the police come in and hide bugs and cameras everywhere. And even then, he's left high school and gone to university by episode 9. Okay, I initially wanted to talk about the movie on its own standing, but the film is made in such a way that you have to have seen the anime to get what's going on sometimes. So, I love the Death Note anime. It's one of my favourite anime. So I was both hyped and terrified at the prospect of Netflix adapting it. As it turns out, I was more right to be terrified. Okay, so L decides after his press conference that Kira needs a name and a face to kill someone, because Kira hasn't killed him. Two things. In the anime, L taunts Kira with Lind L. Taylor, and as a result, Light kills Lind.
3, 2, 1.
This tells L that Kira doesn't need to be present in the room to kill someone. It tells L where Kira is on Earth, because that message was only broadcast to a certain area. And that Kira is willing to kill innocent people that get in his way. So when L makes his speech, he's just presuming that Kira will be willing to kill innocents, which he has no evidence for. Sure, he didn't kill you, but maybe that's because you're working with the police. He just presumes that Kira needs a name and a face to kill, because L hasn't revealed his name and his face, and hasn't proved that Kira is willing to kill innocents. So Kira might not kill him because L hasn't committed any crimes, or, as Jeremy Johns puts it,
He's like, I've deduced whoever's doing this needs to see the person's face and needs to know their name. How'd you get that? Granted, you're not wrong, but everyone who's died also is not a paraplegic. Maybe you need use of both your legs. But there's more to it than that. I just feel like the dude got lucky and happened to be right.
in the end, if you ignore all Death Note media that exists prior to this film, there wouldn't be a film because it entirely relies on brand recognition. However, this film has an interesting premise, even with Ryuk and Mia pressuring Light to use the Death Note, which could have been done well, but after the first scene, it isn't. The lead actor and his relationship just didn't work. However, some of the things they do with the note is cool. The film could have benefited from more interaction between Light and Ryuk. I mean, Light literally has a demon whispering in his ear. Ignore the note. This on its own could make a good movie. So I liked aspects of this film, but altogether I can't really recommend it. This isn't a good movie. If you didn't like this movie, then go watch the anime because it's significantly better. If you did like this film, then still go watch the anime because you'll absolutely love it. Unless your favourite parts of this film were the chase scenes, in which case just go see the next Fast and Furious film. I do believe this is the best American adaptation of an anime so far. Seeing how that's comparing to Ghost in the Shell and Dragon Ball Evolution, that's really not saying much. I have been Jack of all trades. Remember to like, comment and subscribe for more content like this.